I think the biggest surprise to me is I didn't expect Microstrategy to be as aggressive and as successful at raising money as it has been and deploying capital into Bitcoin. So that's the big surprise to me. I really, 6 months ago, I felt like they're probably going to be an also ran and the ETFs were going to be absolutely dominant. Like I thought it would be like 10 to 1, they're lucky to get 10% of the market. They actually had more inflows than the ETFs in the month of November, which was pretty remarkable, I think. I'm betting on Saylor, right? He's delivered the goods.
According to Fred Krueger, a seasoned investor and Wall Street veteran, discusses why MicroStrategy and Bitcoin are the ultimate formula for exponential gains in the coming months. Thanks to Michael Saylor's Bitcoin strategy, Krueger says investors need to pay attention as he's already made a fortune just this year. Krueger highlights a dramatic influx of wealth flowing into Bitcoin from traditional finance institutions. He emphasizes that most people underestimate the sheer scale of this movement, and as more institutions jump into the Bitcoin game, he predicts the surge could surpass anything the market has seen before. Bitcoin currently sits at $94,426, still up over 100% this year. Krueger says we're about to witness unprecedented territory in cryptocurrency. With MicroStrategy and Bitcoin, this changes everything. Let's get right into the interview as he gives his latest Bitcoin prediction and where we're headed in the coming months. Drop your comments down below and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here.
MicroStrategy there's no scenario where MicroStrategy is going to have any kind of liquidity crisis in the next 3 years. Zero. There's just none, right? They have a mountain of almost $50 billion of Bitcoin. They have $6 billion in debt. There's no scenario in which I could see. I mean, I guess if Bitcoin went down 90% tomorrow, that would be, they might have like a small problem. It wouldn't even be like a cataclysmic problem. They'd have a small problem in 3 years, right? They have a rock solid balance sheet right now for the next 3 years. Like there's just no scenario. Now, why would anybody want to own it versus Bitcoin? Okay. And, you're placing a lot of faith in kind of Michael Saylor, it's the jockey. You're betting on the jockey, right? You're not betting on the horse. You're just saying this jockey is gonna win the race somehow, right? And I think now, and really I would say in November, we have some real evidence that they can do something different. So what did they do in November? They deployed $16 billion worth of capital, okay? And they did it, and they increased the amount of Bitcoin per share of MicroStrategy by 40% in like 30 days, right? And so, if you think about it, they increased the amount of Bitcoin that they had by 60%. They increased the amount of shares by 20%. The difference is that 40% is the yield of their Bitcoin, right? But, the fact that they were able to materially increase the amount of Bitcoins per share in a short period of time tells me that if all things remain equal, right? Like if we don't believe that the multiple is going to contract and we don't believe Bitcoin is going to crash, there should be another yield event where they're going to create more yield per share. And if the multiplier just stays at 2.5, price is going to go up relative to Bitcoin. It's a yield. It's a carry trade. You've heard about this yen carry trade. This is a much bigger carry trade. This is like a 30% per year carry trade. Now, again, I view it as a trade. I don't view it as like I'm getting married to MicroStrategy. I do sort of see a scenario, a year from now, 2 years from now, I don't know whenever we get into a bear market, I think that multiple could collapse, right? Again, there's a sort of like, I'm betting on Saylor, right? Now, I think he's kind of delivered on kind of he's delivered the goods that, I was a little skeptical. And I bought some in April. I bought some call options. It's like, can't not bet on this guy. You know what I mean? Like I made a fortune on those call options, right? Because I timed the move really well, right?
Embracing an unyielding enthusiasm for the Bitcoin realm, Krueger confidently predicts that explosive growth is looming on the horizon, as BlackRock and many other crypto giants are doing just that. Fred Krueger reassures that a long-expected surge awaits as we head into 2025.
And so I took my profit, and then I was sort of out of the market for two and a half weeks. And then, I got a chance to really kind of crunch through the numbers of what happened in November. I'm like, holy cow. Like, actually, November was a really amazing month for the company. And, I'm like, I get it. I think this company for the next 6 months deserves, you should own Bitcoin. Yeah, MicroStrategy. You should, it's, you don't want to not participate in this for the bull market phase, right? Because I'm not even expecting the multiple to go up. You see, I'm just saying multiple stays exactly where it is. I'm perfectly happy, right? I'm going to outperform Bitcoin by maybe 20, 30%, which is like, okay, I'll take that, right? So, if I was more negative on Bitcoin, I would say, yeah, I'm going to be more defensive. I'm just going to get into Bitcoin. But if I'm constructive on Bitcoin for the next year, and I don't mind owning a little bit of MSTR along with my Bitcoin. So I'm really long a lot of Bitcoin, and I'm long a little bit of MSTR now too. And I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying being back on Team Saylor. A little bit. If you're in Bitcoin, please actually own actual Bitcoin. There's a lot of reasons why you should own actual Bitcoin, not somebody's shares of somebody managing Bitcoin for you or anything else. Now, once you got a decent position in actual Bitcoin, maybe, experiment with ETFs or ETF options or MicroStrategy or whatever tickles your fancy. But, the issue is, they've been very successful at kind of the fiat game, right? And the startup game, right? And so, having been in that situation myself and having a lot of friends there, I can tell you it's a really big ask to go to somebody who's done well and, who's all set for life in this one, in one game. And then say, by the way, you should take half of what you have and you should put it in these like digital coins. Like most people are like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm super successful, right? You're telling me to sell half my properties and buy Bitcoin with it. And you're like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. They're like, absolutely not. What are you, crazy? So I almost think there's something, I call it Krueger's law, which is the more successful you are in fiat, the more you're going to resist jumping over to Bitcoin.
So true. That's so true.
Anybody who doesn't have that much to lose, they're like, here's the deal. It's 21 million coins. It's immutable. It's taken on, has this great track record. They're like, what am I missing? This thing is great. I love it. Sign me up.
So true.
So the ultra rich who really have an existential problem, they will not be at the top of the heap unless they go max Bitcoin. That's the only way they're going to stay at the absolute top.
Jason?
And Michael Saylor is about, I think he's probably going to end up, kind of being the next Elon Musk. Look, Elon, if you go back to 2018, right? Or right around there, even before 2015, 16, Elon was in trouble, right? Tesla, was sort of struggling, couldn't get financing. It had to get bailed out by the government, all this stuff, right? Like SpaceX was, on a bunch of failed launches and stuff. So, in a decade, Elon went from kind of this struggling kind of startup guy to the richest guy in the world. Now, what happens to Saylor in the next decade? I don't know. Could be the next, he'll be the next Jamie Dimon.
Krueger shares his bold predictions for Bitcoin in the months ahead. Now that he's laser-focused on Bitcoin, Krueger not only lays out the revolutionary Bitcoin power law model, but also explains why he believes a $1 million Bitcoin isn't just possible, it's inevitable. He says the current volatility is a natural phase of Bitcoin's maturation and could present a once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity. Krueger highlights how Bitcoin's decentralized nature and finite supply make it uniquely positioned to withstand economic turbulence, asserting that it will eventually outcompete traditional fiat currencies. His conviction? Bitcoin isn't just a speculative asset, it's the future of money, and those who invest now could be part of a financial revolution. What do you think about Fred Krueger's prediction for Bitcoin and where he sees the world of crypto in the months ahead? Comment down below.